Alright guys, it's been a while since I made my last tier list, but here we are. Today I'm gonna be ranking all of the meta decks plus some of the new decks that came out to the game to see what's happening with the meta right now. Simple as that. Let's not waste any time and get into it. First of all, Branded Despia. This deck did fail a lot because it's just a little bit nerfed. Also, it doesn't compete very well with the top tier meta decks right now. I would say about tier 3 or Rogue deck, either of those works fine with me. Let's just put it at tier 3 because there are some decks that are even less than that. So I think Branded Despia, solid tier 3 deck. Would I play it? Not really, because it's just nerfed a little bit and it's not that amazing compared to some of the other options. Next up, we've got Purli, and Purli did receive a little bit of love. However, I just don't think it's enough. I think that the deck is still tier 3 for me. I don't see it being any higher than that. I don't even play Purli that much, so let me know what you think about it, because I'm not really a Purli player, but I don't think it's beyond tier 3. So let's just move on to the other decks. Now we've got Manadium. Manadium, again, probably like a rogue deck. It's not even a tier 3. I guess it's good enough to be tier 3 because people just don't play draw and lockboard, which means there are less chance of you just getting completely destroyed with draw and lockboard, and this is kind of like the biggest enemy of the deck. So I feel like Manadium does have a place in the meta a little bit, so maybe a rogue deck seems fine, maybe tier 3 seems fine. Either way, that's what it is. It's not a big of a deal whether I rank it tier 3 or rogue deck, so let's just move on again. Now next up, we've got Vanquisho, and this deck is really interesting for me because it's a deck that is just really good mid-range style, that just set up a couple of interruptions, gets a follow-up again, and just does a lot of cool things on its own. And I think this deck is still really nice. It's not that amazing, but it is a solid option. Tier 3 again for me seems really good for this deck. I don't want to put it anything lower than that because it does perform kind of decently well against most decks. You know, it's not a bad deck. And now, as of the newer decks that came out with the newer support and just purely new archetypes, we've got Horus. Now Horus, I don't think it's tier 3 or anything above that. I don't think that Horus is that amazing of a strategy. I would say that it could be a decent rogue deck, but I don't really see it as a rogue deck that much really as well. It's just a really good strategy that sets up a couple of good interruptions and whatnot, but it's not really more than that. Maybe if you throw it as an engine somewhere, it can go higher than just rogue deck, but in my opinion, rogue deck is as much as it gets, dude. I really don't see anything above that. Same thing for me with the Salamangreat. Salamangreat did get a lot of interesting support. However, the deck is just not that amazing, dude. It is nice, it is fine, it is fun to play with, but it's not competitive enough, okay? It's not like the most broken deck you've ever seen. Maybe it can go up to tier 3 at some point. For now, for me, it's just rogue. The new support is really nice, but it's not something insanely broken. It just complements the deck a little bit better, adding new things that you can use with the deck, but the deck does remain the same. The lines of plays do remain somewhat the same, so I don't find it to be that much better than everything else, okay? Oh boy, now we got super heavy, guys. Don't touch this deck. This is so bad. I think I made the tier don't touch because of super heavy. This deck just got completely destroyed, okay? The Link Monster is still here, but the Soul Piercer is at 1, and this is really bad for the deck. The consistency is just not great. Please don't touch this deck. I'm telling you guys, I tried making it work, but it doesn't work that well, so yeah, that's my opinion on it. Let's go over the new deck here. Valmonica is next. Now, I do like Valmonica a lot. It is a really nice rogue deck. However, I don't see it anything above that. You know, the power level of this deck is similar to like Horus. It's still a really decent deck to play with, but it doesn't have some insanely godly plays like some of the top tier meta decks. That is why I don't think it's above like rogue deck. Maybe low tier 3 is also an opportunity, but I just don't see it being that good in my eyes. I do love the deck a lot, but it's just like, you know, it doesn't have some insane tools to work with. The small engines that you can fit into the deck are nice, but they aren't like broken, insanely crazy stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent deck. You can try it out if you want. I don't think you're gonna get insanely good results though, unfortunately. Now let's also do Matmech. Now Matmech, in my opinion, is a tier 3 deck. I mean, this is obvious. Like, Matmech isn't above that because the other decks are just insanely good, as you're gonna see right now. But Matmech is still a really nice deck. It hasn't been nerfed or touched a lot, so that's a good thing for the deck, of course. It also has beautiful consistency, decent plays. Everything is good with the deck. I don't find it to be bad or anything like that. It's just not as crazy as some of the other options above. Let's do tier limits now. I think it's a similar power level as Matmech. Tier 3 is the way to go for me. I think that these decks are, you know, similar power level. They're really good options. They're just not as broken as some of the other options, and I do find them to be pretty good. It's just that, you know, they're not as broken. I mean, let's just continue with the tier 3s, bro. Labyrinth, again, here, tier 3. Nothing to be excited about. This is just a really good deck. It could actually be low tier 2. Now that I think about it, Labyrinth is a really strong deck. It could be low tier 2, high tier 3, or low tier 2 for sure. Something like this. I will leave it at tier 3 maybe, simply because what I'm about to do right now will explain everything. So let's just get into the next one. Now, before we go into the most broken decks here, we're gonna go into the, you know, new stuff for the Sky Striker deck. I do find the deck pretty good, pretty fun. Rogue deck tier is what I'm talking about here. I don't think it's anything above Rogue tier, but it is a really good deck. I mean, the new support did make the deck a lot better, don't get me wrong. It's just that for now, I haven't seen it perform in insanely godly well to put it at tier 3 or above that. I do think it has a tier 3 potential. Right now though, I'm gonna leave it as rogue deck. Let me know what you think about this one because I'm very interested in seeing your opinion about it. In my opinion, this is what I got for you. Now, moving on to the 3 best decks in the game. Definitively, these are like the best options to play with. We're gonna go over first of all Snake Eye. In my opinion, the deck got nerfed a little bit, of course. The deck is tier 2 now. I think that it might be low tier 1 or tier 2. I'm gonna leave it at tier 2 simply because I put Labyrinth at tier 3, and if I leave it at low tier 1, Labyrinth then becomes a tier 2. So I think it will be a little bit better to do this because I think that the other 2 decks are better than Snake Eye right now, simply because it just got nerfed a lot and it's really not that great in terms of consistency. It can still do some broken things, it's just that it can do it less often. It's really easy to negate the deck now at times, and yeah, that's really what I think about it. I think it's finally time to put Snake Eye out of the way a little bit, simply because I hate this deck and I don't want to see it anymore. Not because I'm hater of this deck, but it just got nerfed significantly. Now Rescue Ace, in my opinion, definitive tier 1 deck, super strong deck. I would highly suggest you to play that deck. Now I think it's better than Snake Eye. Also, I think it's better to play pure version rather than playing Rescue Ace Snake Eye. The deck just doesn't need to play Snake Eye in the deck, okay? You already have everything you need. A pure version of the deck is still really good. Emergence is here, Preventer is here, everything is good. The deck has a lot of cool plays. It's really good mid-range, it gets really good follow-up. So I would definitely encourage you to play the deck. I definitely think this is the best, or you know, second best deck in the game. And now for the most important ranking in this tier list. If you play pure version Fire King, it is a tier 3 deck. If you play Fire King Snake Eye, this is the best deck in the game in my opinion. It's a little bit better than Rescue Ace as well. The sheer value, the amount of consistency, everything is just really strong for this deck. It has so many good plays. You can definitely play around different interruptions, dodge Imperm, dodge Effect Veiler. It is such a powerful deck. Obviously it performed as the second best deck in the TCG after pure Snake Eye. People just played Fire King Snake Eye, but here Snake Eye is just really nerfed right now. So obviously the best deck will be Fire King Snake Eye. It's just simple. It's just simple math, okay? If the best deck was Snake Eye, now it's not. Fire King Snake Eye will take over, and this is what I think it will happen. I think that Fire King Snake Eye will be really strong. Now I don't think it's gonna be that big of a gap to call it a tier 0 deck, but it's gonna be just really strong. Anything below Fire King Snake Eye, Rescue Ace and Snake Eye is significantly worse. Keep that in mind. I think that the gap looks something like this. I think these 3 are tier 1, with the Snake Eye being low tier 1. Everything else is just tier 3 except for Labyrinth. Maybe it can go up to like low tier 2 or something. So I'm gonna leave Snake Eye at tier 2 because it is a little bit worse than the other 2 options for me. But this is it, guys. This is the tier list. Fire King will take over, Rescue Ace will perform really well, Snake Eye will still remain in the meta regardless of these small consistency nerfs, and that's really it. Everything else is just a step worse. Let me know what you think about the tier list, whether you agree with it or not. Also make sure to like, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. It really helps my channel a lot. Make sure to check out more Yu-Gi-Oh! Must Do content. I have plenty of that in the channel, as you already know. Now I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.